Imagine waking up one morning to discover that events predicted over 1,400 years ago are unfolding right before your eyes. Not vague predictions, not symbolic metaphors, but clear, specific signs described centuries ago now appearing in our modern world. Rapid time, endless conflicts, moral confusion, towers reaching the sky. Could these be the signs that humanity has been warned about for generations? And if they are, the most important question becomes, how close are we to the Day of Judgment? Across many religions and cultures, there is a belief that history is moving toward a final moment, a day when justice will be established, and every human being will face the truth of their actions. In Islam, this moment is known as Yawm al-Qiyamah, the Day of Judgment. But according to Islamic teachings, this day will not arrive suddenly and without warning. Instead, it will be preceded by a series of signs, events, and transformations in the world that serve as reminders and warnings to humanity. Some of these signs were predicted more than 14 centuries ago. What makes them fascinating is that many scholars believe several of these signs have already appeared. But before we explore them, there's something important to understand. The signs of Judgment Day are divided into two types.
Minor signs, which gradually appear over long periods of time, and major signs, extraordinary events that will happen close to the end of the world. Right now, according to many scholars, humanity may already be living deep within the era of the minor signs. To understand this better, we have to go back to the 7th century. In a desert society where people lived in simple homes and small communities, the Prophet Muhammad described events that would happen far in the future, events that his listeners could barely imagine. He spoke about a time when knowledge would spread widely, yet ignorance would still increase, a time when honesty would become rare and trust between people would weaken, a time when competition for wealth and status would dominate human life. For the people listening at that time, these descriptions sounded distant, almost unimaginable. But today, many of these predictions feel strangely familiar. And this is why discussions about the signs of Judgment Day continue to capture the curiosity of millions around the world. Not because people want to predict the exact date of the end, but because these signs act as a mirror reflecting the condition of humanity. One of the most widely discussed signs is the rapid passage of time. In Islamic tradition, it was said that as the end approaches, time would seem to move faster. A year would feel like a month like a week like a day. Think about modern life. Technology has made communication instant. Information travels across the world in seconds, yet people everywhere say the same thing. Time is flying. Days blur together. Years pass before we realize it. Whether this is psychological or something deeper, the experience of accelerated time has become a global feeling. Another sign mentioned in Islamic teachings is the spread of moral confusion and dishonesty. Trust between people was once considered the foundation of communities, but many traditions warned that a time would come when trust would fade, promises would be broken, truth would become difficult to recognize, and people would struggle to know who to believe. In today's world of misinformation, scams, and manipulated narratives, many observers feel that truth itself has become harder to find. The question is not just whether dishonesty exists, it always has. The real concern is how normalized it has become. Another remarkable sign involves competition in building tall structures. In ancient times, most societies lived in simple homes made from natural materials, but a narration describes a future in which people who once lived humble lives would begin competing to build the tallest buildings. Today, cities around the world compete to construct the highest skyscrapers ever built. Massive towers dominate skylines in the Middle East, Asia, and North America. What once seemed impossible has become a symbol of power and prestige. Humanity now reaches hundreds of meters into the sky, pushing architectural limits further every year. For many believers, this prediction stands out as one of the most striking. Another sign frequently discussed is the increase of global conflict and instability. History has always seen wars, but modern warfare has introduced a terrifying possibility: conflict capable of affecting the entire planet. In the last century alone, humanity experienced 2 world wars, nuclear weapons, and ongoing geopolitical tensions. The scale of destruction available to modern societies is unlike anything seen before in history. This raises an unsettling question. Have humans gained power faster than they have gained wisdom? Another sign mentioned is the abundance of wealth combined with widespread inequality. There will be periods, traditions say, where wealth becomes extremely concentrated. Some individuals and nations possess unimaginable resources, while others struggle for the most basic necessities. Today, humanity lives in an age of technological advancement and economic growth, yet millions still face poverty, hunger, and instability. It's a paradox of modern civilization: unprecedented wealth existing alongside persistent hardship. But perhaps the most important aspect of the signs is not the events themselves, it is the message behind them. These signs are not meant to create panic, they are meant to serve as reminders. Reminders that the world is temporary. Reminders that human actions matter. And reminders that justice, even when delayed, is never forgotten. Here's something many people don't realize. Despite the detailed descriptions of the signs, Islamic teachings make one thing absolutely clear: no human being knows when the day of judgment will occur. Not scholars, not historians, not scientists, not even prophets. The exact moment of the end of the world is knowledge known only to God. This means the purpose of the signs is not prediction, it is preparation.
The signs are like road markers along a journey. They remind humanity that time is moving forward and that every generation must decide how it will live. Throughout history, people have searched for clues about the future. They have studied prophecies, signs, and patterns in the world around them. But the deeper lesson behind the signs of Judgment Day is not about fear of the end. It is about awareness of the present. Every era believes it might be living near the end of time, yet every era also faces the same question: how should we live while we are here? Because whether the final day comes tomorrow or thousands of years from now, every human life still moves toward its own moment of accountability. And perhaps that is the real message behind the signs: not simply that the end is approaching, but that every day we live is a chance to choose who we become before it arrives.